Hey guys! So we're back. We're gonna be playing Ace Attorney, Phoenix Wright. Oh, Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney. But yeah, so let's just get into the game. Part 3, where we left off. We're gonna be in court. Sorry guys. Right, I think we got like a little break last time. So if I'm remembering correctly. Dude, I can't believe that Adrian, no way, not cool and collected Adrian Andrews. She is your manager. It would have been it would have been very easy for her to pull this off. The only person who had easy access to the knife you used at dinner was, well, her. So after the ceremony during the break, huh? I was sleeping like a log the entire time. See, she could have also easily planted that blood-covered button in your hakama. Hmm. Because she was the one. Because she was the one that came to wake me up. Then, dude, you're saying it really was her? Yes, she is the real killer. She was the one who murdered Juan Corrida. But why? I thought she was buds with Juan. She has her own agenda. Her own agenda? What are you talking about? I'm pretty sure you'll see by the time this trial's over. It'll be all right. I'll get you acquitted by the end of today. Get me a verdict that's refreshing like a spring breeze, okay, Mr. Lawyer Dude? Phoenix. You think her motive is related to Celeste Impact's missing suicide note, right? Yes. Miss Andrews depended on Miss Impact's as her strength and reason to live. But then Miss Impact suddenly killed herself. It sounds like she left a suicide note, and the person thought to have hidden it is Juan Corrida, the victim of this murder. And that's why I think that Miss Andrews got close to Mr. Corrida. All to get the suicide note back. That sounds plausible. But one thing bothers me. What? Who was it that first told us about their relationship? Better stated, Miss Andrews' dependency issues with regard to Miss Impact's. It was Edgeworth. Bruh, I swear, did Edgeworth literally tell me all that just to like fuck with me? Like just to fuck me over? Be so fucking for real. It looks like he's still the one in command of the ship, bruh. Don't let your guard down yet. Mmm. Mm. Court will now reconvene. Now then, Mr. Edgeworth, if you please. The prosecution calls a witness subpoenaed by this court. Miss Adrian Andrews, the person who discovered the crime in Mr. Corrida's room. In Juan Corrida's room. What is your occupation? I am the manager of the defendant in this case, Mr. Matt Ungarde. I see. Now then, before you begin, Your Honor, I have one request. Yes, sure. What is it? I'm sure everyone in this room is wondering the same thing, and would love to find out more about my relationship with the victim. After all, it was the topic of a certain weekly magazine recently. I don't know, I have no idea what you mean. I've never even heard of Gossip Land. If the judge was ever a prosecution witness, he'd do all the work for me. Anyway, I was wondering if you could please tell us about your relation to the victim. Yes, I was seeing Mr. Corrida. I was also aware of the rivalry that existed between Matt and Juan. But this was a private matter between Juan and myself. So it was a fry and bait matter, or was it that bait and fry? Remind me of fishing. But I didn't kill him. No one is accusing you of that. I think there's someone who would beg to differ. Yeah. Yeah. I think we all understand your relationship with the victim now, Mrs. Andrews. Very well then, witness. Please testify to the court about what happened when you discovered the murder that had taken place. When I found the body. It was time for the show to start, so I went to get Matt from his room. After that, I went to Juan's room, and there was his dead body. I was in shock. What I saw was naturally the exact same scene as in the crime scene photo. I felt as though I was about to faint, so I poured myself a glass of juice. I never drank it? You poured yourself a glass of juice? That's literally just weird. What? Yeah, sadly, I didn't remember not to touch things at the scene of a crime, and I disturbed the scene by moving this one thing. And that is when the fingerprints on the wine glass were made, Your Honor. I see. Well, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness, Phoenix. She is one cool and collected customer, and she has the brains to match. Yes, I know. In order to catch a person like her, you have to avoid head-on confrontations. You should disrupt her pacing. Disrupt her pacing? She's the type of woman who is easily thrown off by things inconsistent with her thinking. So you have to attack when she least expects it. The instant you let up on her offense is the instant this trial is over, understand? Okay. It was time for the show to start, so I wanted to get Matt from his room. Okay, yeah, because he was sleeping. Damn, I have 1% on this thing? And what was Mr. Angarde doing at that time? He was taking a nap. He was worn out from his mini performance as the Nickel Samurai during the ceremony. Mr. Angarde did say he was taking a nap. Then I guess you could say it could not have been taken out of his room, yes? Excuse me? What are you... Right. I thought years of school would have taught you how to construct a sentence. If you can't make a sensible sentence with a subject, then I'll make one for you. Watch. Did you, Mrs. Andrews, remove Mr. Angarde's knife from his room? No. Subject, verb, object, right? Did you skip basic grammar? The witness may continue. Damn, Edward. How the fuck? I got one? Dang, I must have really taken damage last time. After that, I went to... Where? Whatever. And why did you do that? As a friendly gesture, one was to make an appearance with the other heroes. So the show was supposed to be a show of friendship, huh? Is that the only reason? I beg your pardon? What are you implying? You had a certain goal in mind when you started to get close to him, correct? So perhaps you had more personal matters to discuss with the victim. Sorry, but I didn't have any such intentions in mind at the time. I can't get her to talk without a strong piece of evidence, I guess. May we continue now? Witness, what did you see when you got to his room? And there was his dead body. I was in shock. Okay. You were in shock? What, was I not supposed to be? Miss Andrews is a very calculating person. And despite how close they were, I doubt she had romantic feelings for Mr. Corrida. Anyone randomly stumbling upon a dead body would be in shock. And you can't seriously expect that a young beauty like her would not be shocked. Somehow, I don't think beauty has anything to do with being shocked or not. I see. What I saw was naturally the exact same scene as in the crime scene photo. This is the photo you're referring to, correct? Yes, the one with the knife lodged in his chest. And the guitar case was like this too? Yes, it was open and empty, of course. And then, what did you do next, witness? I felt as though I was about to faint, so I poured myself a glass of juice. That's literally weird. What the fuck? Juice? Yes, there was a bottle of tomato juice on the table. So I helped myself. But you didn't drink any of it, did you? Huh? There were no lip marks left on this wine glass to suggest that anyone drank from it. I wasn't feeling terribly great, so I set the glass down without drinking it. Miss Andrews, I would like to confirm with you one more time. When you discovered the dead body of Juan Corrida, you were in great shock. And that's when you poured yourself the glass of juice, correct? And what of it? My mind really was a complete blank at the time. Your mind was a complete blank. How the fuck your mind gonna be a complete blank? Complete blank. But then you're gonna like pour yourself a glass of juice? What? Anyway, I didn't think that was possible for you. Aren't you rude today? I was so dazed that I made one careless mistake. That one thing. What one thing? Never mind. It's no big deal. What was she starting to say just now? Oh yeah, we pressing further, the fuck? Miss Andrews. I'm convinced that, as you said, you made a mistake at the scene of the crime. What I really want to know is what this mistake was. Actually, so would I. I'm sorry, it's kind of embarrassing. When I set the glass down on the dresser, I accidentally knocked the flower vase over. Okay. Flower vase? Are you talking about the one on the floor in the crime scene in the crime photo? Okay. There's only what, there's 3 rows. This mess of glass shards? It was originally on top of the dresser, but when I bumped into it with my elbow, it fell onto the guitar case. Why did you withhold such an important piece of information? I'm sorry, I thought that since the crime scene was already in disarray, that people would simply assume the vase was just another part of the mess. Hmm. It looks like yet another fact has come to light here. Please add this and anything else you have to reveal to your testimony. I'm sorry, but I have nothing more to add. I didn't touch anything else. I was the one who knocked the flower vase over when it fell into the guitar case. On the guitar case? Girl, what? I didn't see that. Hold on. I guess. Oh, I guess that's why it was wet on the top, huh? But hold on. Hold on. That means that shit was closed at the time, right? Because it was like wet on top or something. So wouldn't that mean that shit was closed? I don't know. I don't know. But anyway. What kind of flower vase was it? It was a glass vase, and it was fairly big and heavy. I thought I would try to take Juan's pulse. So I set the glass I was holding down on the dresser, and that's when my elbow accidentally hit the vase. That's odd. I thought she was always in total control of herself. That's what she would like people to think. Always be mindful of the gap between your perception and reality. It doesn't sound like there's any glaring contradictions in her testimony just now. I warned you earlier that she would not crack so easily. The only way to make her is to keep on the offensive and not let up. The only way you're going to catch her is with some very strong, decisive evidence. I have to find something, I just have to, for Maya's sake. What is, Become blood, guard's fingerprints in the grit, AA-15, strangled with a scarf and stabbed with a knife. Shock from less impact suicide. Was suicide note hidden? Was ripped from his costume, was covered in corrido found in Garde's Akama. Empty, there's some water, but only on top of the lid. That's what I'm saying. See, empty, there's some water, but only on the top of the lid. Exactly, so that shit was open before. So she fucking opened that shit. I swear she opened it. Or somebody else must have opened it, because, like, see, it was closed, and then there's water. Wait, was it? Oh, it's over here. Because then there's. See, because then that shit is there, but, like, this shit is it's, like, wet. The inside of this isn't wet. Like, that's not wet at all. I'm like pointing as if y'all can see where I'm pointing at. But, like, the inside of the thing isn't even wet at all. So that shit was closed before. Because it said only on the top of the lid. Oh no, girl. Huh? Oh, hey, Lisa. Yeah, I can see the chat, but, like, not like I gotta, like, look at it every once in a while. I'm doing good, and you? It was time for the show. And I was the one who knocked over where it fell into the guitar case. Okay. Fell onto the guitar case. My day's been good so far. Just started streaming, playing Ace Attorney. Just trying to figure out what's happening. I was the one who knocked the flower vase over where it fell into the guitar case. Okay. I literally only have one chance. Oh my god. Let me just save. Let's just save right now. Yeah, I am. I just started streaming just for fun. Wait, did I say? Okay. Now. The only thing I can think of is this. Found next to the victim. So bears her fingerprint, right? Because she used it. The only thing I'm thinking of is this, so. Yes! Oh my god, yes, 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 yes. Yes, okay. Oh, thank you, Lisa. I appreciate that. No, thank you. You testified that you knocked the flower vase over. Is this correct? Yes. And are you sure it fell into the guitar case? That's what I'm saying. The guitar was closed. Is there some problem with what I said? It's not some problem. It's a major problem. Yes, that's what I was talking about. It's true that the top of the guitar case was wet with water. Yes, exactly. But the inside of the thing isn't wet. However, that's exactly what is so strange. Miss Andrews, you testified that the vase fell into the guitar case. However, if that was true, the case— yes, exactly. That's what I was saying. If that was true, the case should have gotten wet on the inside, not the outside. Oh, I'm from Florida, of the United States of America. That's very true. Furthermore, there's one other strange thing about this guitar case. And what is that? Let's take another look at the crime scene photo. The remains of the vase are scattered on the floor. Exactly. There's none on the inside, nor on the other side of the guitar case. Exactly. Oh, thank you. Okay, that's cool. The remains of the vase are scattered on the floor. And what is wrong with that? If the guitar case was open when the vase fell, it would have been inside. The glass shard should be inside, not outside the case. Exactly. What is your point, right? The point is that the guitar case was closed, Edward. Yes, that the case was closed at the time the vase was knocked over. Yeah. Is that all? No, think back to what Miss Andrews testified to. She said that other than the vase, she didn't touch anything else. Exactly. Exactly. So who knows if she took that guitar or not? Yes, that's right. She did implicitly say she didn't touch the guitar case. But this whole matter with the guitar case is dead end. No small— bro, how are you gonna overlook any detail? No, every detail leads somewhere. No, I'm okay, thank you though. The bright red guitar was found at the studio. It has no bearing on this case at all. Okay, but the case was closed. That may very well be. However, the empty guitar case does seem to have no relation to this case, doesn't it? Nah, it's probably related somehow. It seems that there's no deeper meaning to the guitar case. Wait, yes there is. She was probably looking for that suicide note. She was probably looking for that suicide note, and that's what it was. Well, Miss Wright, do you think we need to hear more details about the guitar case? Nah, make her testify. The empty guitar case. Nah, make her testify. I believe this is a crucial piece of the puzzle. I can't believe anyone would reach for straws like this, but it is you. Alright, Edgeworth. I can't believe I'm doing this either. Alright, I'll follow along, for now. Miss Andrews, please testify to the court about the guitar case. Yes, Your Honor. I don't remember too clearly because I was a bit dazed. I suppose I must have opened the guitar case after I knocked the vase over. Girl, what? Right. Sure. It's not a big deal though, right? The case was empty after all. As for why I opened the case, even I don't know. Girl, what? How do you not know why you opened the case? Because you were in such shock? Come on now. Hmm. It looks like this really wasn't a very important point. This wastefulness is such a familiar feeling by now that it's almost comforting. Alright, Edgeworth. Edgeworth. Anyway, I'll just go ahead and start the cross-examination. Using any way to change this topic, a convenient escape for a weak man. Alright, Edgeworth. Calm down. Hmm. I don't remember too clearly because I was a bit dazed. During your testimony just now, did you remember those events clearly in your mind? Well, you see. Are you sure you're the one who opened the guitar case? Can we check for a fingerprint or something on the guitar case? Like, she's waiting for someone to tell her if she should answer or not. Sounds like her dependent side is taking over. Well, Miss Andrews? Yes, it was me. I suppose I must have opened the guitar case after I knocked the vase over. So, you opened the guitar case then? Yes, well, maybe. Girl, what? Why did you open the guitar case? Huh? Mr. Gorilla's dead body was right in front of you, wasn't it? I would think that the first thing you would do is call for help, not open a guitar case. Right. As the witness has said multiple times when she found the dead body, she was dazed, right? Maybe I was curious to know if the bright red guitar was alright or not. Girl, what? I thought maybe the criminal took it. Why would she care about the bright red guitar? But getting back on topic. It's not a big deal though, right? The case was empty after all. Was it really empty? I was just wondering if maybe when you opened the case, the guitar was still inside. How long have you been a lawyer, Miss Wright? Have a little professionalism. The bright red guitar was found at the studio. These trials would be over in half the time if you would just pay attention. Yes, pay more attention, Mr. Wright. Sorry. As for why I opened the case, even I don't know. Girl, what? Was that because you were shocked and dazed at discovering the victim's body? Yes, that's probably it. Right. Okay. I'm not going to get anywhere if I continue pressing her like this. The only way to make her talk is with evidence. I guess I should give it a try. Come on, beings, we can afford to let up on her now. I wasn't planning on letting up, but she's at her weakest now. So this is our chance. Yeah, if I had a weapon to do it. I'm sure a weapon is hiding somewhere in the court record waiting to be found. Okay. Let's save again. Okay. Okay, I don't remember too clearly because I was a bit dazed. I suppose I must have opened the guitar case after I knocked the vase over. It's not a big deal. The case was empty. It's gotta be this. But like what? I suppose I must have opened the guitar case after I knocked the vase over. What's this? Okay, I suppose I must have opened the guitar case after I knocked the vase over. It doesn't have her fingerprint. This says it only bears Corrida's fingerprint. So what? That's what I was saying. Okay. There is no way you were the one who opened the guitar case. Exactly. Why would you say that? It's elementary, my dear. Because the only fingerprints on this guitar case are those of the victim. So you're lying. What is it, Miss Andrews? You shouldn't assume that I must have left prints just because I touched the case. What do you mean? What if I were to tell you that I was wearing gloves at the time? Why the fuck are you wearing gloves? Exactly. It was the night of the award ceremony, so of course I dressed up for the occasion. Yes, now I remember. I'm almost sure I was wearing a pair of thin gloves. I see. Well, Miss Wright, it seems the witness was wearing gloves at the scene of the crime. Nothing strange about that. That's strange, yeah. You were wearing gloves? Isn't that a little strange? Why is that strange? Do you have something that would prove I was not wearing gloves at the time? I had something that would prove she wasn't wearing gloves. Right here! It has your fucking fingerprints on it. I have your proof right here. This wine glass. The wine glass? You left your fingerprints very clearly on this wine glass. But not on the guitar case, so what's up? Even if you took your gloves off when you poured yourself this glass of juice, wouldn't you think it was just a little strange that you put your gloves back on just to open the guitar case? Exactly. Order, order, order. Looks like you hit the nail on the head this time. What do you mean? I believe that guitar case plays a very important role here. Exactly, but it's just an empty case. Nah. I wonder if it really was empty though. But the guitar, the bright red guitar was at the studio. Phoenix, drop all your presumptions. What was in the guitar case was not the bright red guitar. You don't mean it was a bright white guitar? Wait, no, that's not right either. I admit it would be unnatural for someone to do that, so the witness was not wearing gloves, despite the fact that on the case. Your Honor, this is obviously the defense's usual misdirection tactic at work. Steer the court towards an unrelated topic and lull us into all his misguided. It's not misguided at all. I'm just right. No, Your Honor, please recall that Miss Andrews had testified that the vase fell onto the guitar case, which means that the case was closed when the crime took place. Exactly. However, it was wide open in the photo of the crime scene. I'm sure this guitar case has some relation to the murder. If you are so sure, right, then I'm sure you can somehow substantiate your outrageous claim, correct? Please enlighten us as to why that guitar case has anything to do at all with this murder. Can you do that, Mr. Wright? Well, let's suppose for a second that the bright red guitar was not the only thing that could have been in that case. The bright red guitar not being the only thing. You don't mean to suggest that a bright black guitar was... So you intend to push your theory that the case was not empty, is that it, right? I wouldn't say something I didn't intend to prove. Deflate the head. Deflate that head of yours. You haven't proven anything yet. Now then, let's have it. What was inside the case at the time of the murder? Girl, I don't know. The killer. But anyway. Was ripped from his costume. What could have been in there? Obviously not the guitar. Probably a suicide note. Possibly. And why would something like that be inside a guitar case, let alone this one? Why, Mr. Wright, why? Well, I just thought it might have been possible. Boy, I have a suggestion. Why don't you put that in the void where your brain is supposed to be? Damn, that was wrong. Damn. Dang. What would it be then? What could be inside the guitar? What would be in the guitar? Oh wait, I still gotta do this shit again? Damn. We're gonna speed through this again. What could have been in that guitar case? Oh shit. No, I didn't mean to click that. Sorry, guys. Okay, yeah. Oops. Okay, what was inside this case at the time of the murder? Hmm. Hmm. His costume? Hmm. Wait, no, he was wearing the costume, no? Or am I tripping? Wait. Was he wearing the costume? Oh wait, he was wearing the costume. Hold on. Wait a minute, was he? I don't. Oh no, yeah, he was. But it's the other dude's costume. What? What was inside this case at the time of the murder? Girl, I don't know. Hmm. 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 The scarf, maybe? Wait, actually, hold on. Wait, hold on. Did she have a scarf? Hold on. Oh wait, he had a scarf. Wait, she had a scarf, or is that just her neck? Like her shirt. Hmm. Hmm. She wears a scarf. No, hold on. No, she doesn't wear a scarf. I don't know. Maybe wait. He wears a scarf, right? Hmm. Maybe his. Was this scarf in there? Like, I don't know. Wait, wait. It says stolen on the night of the murder. Tabloid article about the victim was in the case. Oh wait, the case of that? Or is it the guitar case? Let's say this. Okay, I guess I'm wrong. Right, I'm wrong. It might have been the other one then. Or it might just be like, I don't know. Genuinely, I don't know. I don't know what it would be. What else could be in the guitar case? Ain't no way. Is it gonna be like this radio transceiver or something? Like, I just saw a tabloid article about the victim was in the case. I don't know. It's not that. Now then, let's have it. What was inside this case at the time of the murder? Okay, wrong again. This is a photograph. Yes, but what is important is what is in that picture, Your Honor. That's what I was saying. I was thinking like, is there like something in there, like a second costume? But then I was like, wait, he's wearing his costume. But anyway, in this picture, it doesn't take a genius to see what I mean. What I am proposing is, inside the guitar case was the Nickel Samurai, the hero's very own costume. What? Mr. Wright, explain yourself. That's what I was saying. Right, are you saying that the witness opened the guitar case to take out a costume? What insane point would there be to be doing something like that? The insane point would be to wear the costume, of course. Miss Andrews put it on to hide her identity so she could make her escape. After all, you couldn't let anyone see you leave, could you, Miss Andrews? I refuse to accept your theory. Do you have anything to support such a preposterous idea? Just outside the door was an investigative photographer who was starving for a big scoop. And in the end, she managed to get this shot, correct? Excuse me. You mean this photo? Order, order! It looks like we've wandered into quite another mess again, haven't we? Nice job, Phoenix. Well, you know my strategy. Speak first, think later. Not for real, though. So the real murderer was hiding inside a costume? Wait 1 second, Your Honor. The Nickel Samurai's costume would have been Mr. Matt on guards. Why would something of the defendant's be in the victim's room? And inside the guitar case and inside the guitar case of all places. True, that is a little baffling. Miss Wright, the court would like to hear your thoughts. What was this Nickel Samurai costume doing inside the guitar case? It was a spare costume. Mr. Angard did not take his costume off during the break period. In that case, the costume we were talking about was a spare one. What? Then, are you saying that on the night of the murder, there were 2 Nickel Samurai costumes at the Gatewater Hotel? Yes, that is what I am saying. And how do you explain the costume that was inside the guitar case? It would mean that the victim himself had brought the spare to the ceremony on purpose. But why? The victim, Mr. Corrida, was a Jammin ninja. Why would he secretly bring the Nickel Samurai spare costume with him? What could be the reason behind such a peculiar act? Maybe he was gonna kill him. And therein lies the sticking point. What are you mumbling to yourself about? Have you just been rambling all this time without any sense of inner monologue? Huh? No, Mr. Wright, please explain yourself. Why do you think the victim had the Nickel Samurai's spare costume? Phoenix, are you sure you can explain this one? Girl, I don't know. Hold on, let me see. Think carefully before you answer, and then answer with gusto. I believe in you. Alright, this is what I think. The reason the victim brought the Nickel Samurai's spare costume to the hotel was... What is this? On the night of the murder, after the stage show, the Nickel Samurai was going to hold a special press conference. A press conference. Yes, the Nickel Samurai was supposed to confess something at this conference. I heard about this as well. For once, you're not making something up right. Alright, Edgeworth. But what struck me as strange was that Mr. Angard himself said he had no idea he was supposed to be holding a press conference that night. But how can that be? The way I see it, that means only one thing: the conference was set up by none other than the victim, Mr. Juan Corrida himself. The victim? Yes. The spare Nickel Samurai costume was prepared for that very conference. Mr. Corrida was going to hold the press conference as the Nickel Samurai. He was going to dress up as the Nickel Samurai and hold a conference? But why would the victim do such a thing? That's something I don't quite know yet. However, what I am concerned with right now is what he intended to reveal at that conference. The Nickel Samurai was going to confess something? And by confess, I'd wager he was going to reveal something about himself. Which means that Juan Corrida, posing as the Nickel Samurai, was going to speak about Matt Angard. Yes, I guess that is what it would mean. But if that's the case, that's not a confession. That's public disclosure. Miss Andrews, I can see why you are pros at what you do. Pardon me? Yes, just as you say, the press conference was set up by Juan. Girl. Miss Andrews, please offer us an explanation for this. I was the one he asked to help set it up. And the person who prepared the second costume for him? That was also me. Alright then. You? Juan had bet everything on the Jammin Ninja this year. And if he lost the Grand Prix, he was going to make sure Matt was going down with him. That's what he thought anyway. He was going to ruin him, huh? It looked like somehow Juan had in his hands a secret so powerful that it would destroy Matt's acting career had it been revealed. What? And do you know what the secret of Mr. Angard's is, Miss Andrews? That's something only Juan knew. I don't know what it is. I see. I've probably been coming off quite suspicious to everyone, but that's to be expected. I've been trying to protect Matt after all. Protect Mr. Angard? And yet again, another strange bit of truth comes to light, it seems. Miss Andrews, if you could, please tell us the truth about your behavior. Yes, Your Honor, I understand. Alright, protecting Matt. From the moment I saw the crime scene, I had a feeling that Matt was the murderer. Matt had to kill Juan no matter what, and he didn't have an alibi for what he was doing at the time of the murder. My thoughts were confirmed by the evidence, of course, the button and the knife. But I'm Matt's manager, so I felt that I had to protect him. This does account for everything. Well, I am the logical type. No, you're not. I'm finally seeing her true self. Girl, you are not no logical type. She is more nervous than a scared rabbit. If the defense can find no fault with this testimony, I am ready to make a ruling. Please keep that in mind as you cross-examine Mr. Wright. Alright. Let's save again. Looks like somehow everything has swung to the opposite end of the scale again. That just means I have to put my weight into this thing, turn her logic upside down. Okay. Protecting Matt. From the moment I saw the crime scene, I had a feeling that Matt was a murderer. How the fuck did you... Well, I guess because of the secret, right? Or whatever. Would you say that was your intuition speaking to you? Don't confuse my methods of reasoning with your own. Alright, bro. If you want to prove that someone did something, you need 3 things. 3 things? A motive, an opportunity to commit the crime, and finally, decisive evidence. And if you think these 3 things through, the answer becomes quite clear. You should have already known that, Phoenix. They didn't teach that to us in school, at least not from what I remember. May I continue now? Matt had to kill Juan no matter what. No matter what is crazy. So would you say this need came from the press conference? Yes. Do you know why Juan chose that event and that hotel for the conference? Because that was when he could cause the most damage to the public's beloved Matt Engarde. And you knew of this plan, didn't you, Miss Andrews? Yes, because I was the one who set up the conference and prepared the costume. But I'm sure Mr. Engarde himself didn't know anything about the press conference. Oh, really? Can you show me any proof that he didn't know about the press conference? Anyway, the important thing here is that this information was not in your testimony. Yes, I agree. Miss Andrews, please correct your testimony if you please. Grasping at straws now, are we, Mr. Wright? Alright. I know what his motive was, but I don't have any way to prove him right. Has Mr. Engarde done something to hurt or betray you personally? Why do you ask? You were the one who helped Mr. Corrida with his press conference, and that event was supposed to bring down Mr. Engarde, yet you still helped out. The person on trial right now is Mr. Engarde, right? What the witness was thinking, helping the victim with his plan, is none of our concern. In any case, this means that the defendant had a motive to kill. Why do I keep doing this to myself? And he didn't have an alibi for what he was doing at the time of the murder. Oops. Wasn't he napping? Well, anyway, but didn't you already testify earlier that Mr. Engarde was taking a nap in his room? That's what I'm saying. Are you telling me now that that too was a lie so you could cover for Mr. Engarde? I'm not telling you anything of the sort. When I went to get him for the show, he honestly was sleeping. However, as to whether he was sleeping the entire time, that I cannot say. I was too busy setting up the stage at the time. I keep trying, but I can find no flaws with what Miss Andrews has said. I can't say the same for some people here in this courtroom, however. The judge is glaring straight at Mia. He's glaring at you, smart guy. My thoughts were confirmed by the evidence, of course. The button and the knife. You can hardly call the knife decisive evidence. The fingerprints on the knife could very well be a clever camouflage. Then, what about the button? The button? It's clear from the crime scene that the victim and his murderer fought. And during the fight, their killer ripped the button from the Gem Ninja's costume. You're talking about this button, correct? That button was found in the pleats of Matt's hakama, isn't that right? I would think that makes it very decisive evidence. Looks like you're outfoxed again, Mr. Wright. Anyway, the knife doesn't prove a thing. Please fix your testimony. I can't stand the sight of a man who can't gracefully accept his defeat. Thank goodness Mia can still look at me. With an icy stare, yes. Miss Andrews, for Mr. Wright's sake, please add this information to your testimony. The button was torn off of Juan during the fight with Matt. And how do you know that? When the end of the threads of the button, when the ends of the threads of the button and the costume were matched up. They were found to fit together perfectly, or so I heard. Or so I heard, please. I've heard that before too. Yeah, Edgeworth. But why would Miss Andrews know about this case down to such a fine detail? And don't look at me like that. Just because I'm prepared and you're not. Alright. And I thought I had her this time for sure. If there's anything to trip her up on, it has to be here, but where and what? That's the question for real. Where and what? So but I'm Matt's manager, so I felt I had to protect him. But what you really did was stab the guy in the back, didn't you? Like, literally, you set up the press conference for him. Like, for Juan. And at the worst possible time. Literally. Like, girl, what? Who's to say she really stabbed the guy in the back, as you put it? The witness could have disclosed things about Mr. Engarde at any time. Why then would she wait until there was a large audience before doing so? It's the same reason why Mr. Corrida planned such an elaborate conference. Miss Andrews wanted to cause Mr. Engarde as much damage as she possibly could. Though this witness bears ill will towards the defendant. This isn't the Phoenix Wright Wax Philosophical Power Hour. And please, stop slandering the witness. As I expected, Miss Andrews' testimony seems pretty solid. Really? Because to me it sounded a little wishy-washy. Wishy-washy? Well, I guess we'll see if I press a little more. You should know this by now. But you'll need the strongest type of evidence got it, Chief. I'm going to pin you down this time, Miss Andrews. I had a feeling? Girl, what? What feeling is that? Also, what's the size of the evidence I got? She set that whole thing up. Wait, hold on. Well, wait, no, he's not in costume though. So there's no fingerprints on here though. It's found in his Hakama, but it didn't say there were any fingerprints on it. Let me see. I didn't have an alibi, what he was doing. Dang it, I was wrong. Or maybe I'm right, but it wasn't that one. Damn. Bro, damn, I gotta go through all that again. Alright. Oh wait. Or do I need to show the manager? I mean, not the manager, what the fuck? Hmm. Hmm. Oh, okay, I guess I was wrong. Hmm. Hmm. Mm-hmm. The knife stab to the victim was done after the victim had already died. Mm-hmm. And what does that mean? Let's examine the evidence. This button has the victim's blood on it, which would mean that it was ripped off of the costume when? After the knife was stabbed into the victim. Exactly, which means It is impossible that this button was torn off during the victim's final struggle, because the victim was strangled to death in the fight. That's right, Miss Andrews. There is no way this button was ripped off during the struggle. This button was consciously pulled off of the victim's already dead body. Order. What is the meaning of this, right? So what if the button was torn off the body after the victim had already died? What does that change? Let me ask you one simple question, Mr. Edgeworth. Why was the button torn off? What purpose does that serve? What purpose? We now know this button was not torn off during the fight. So the murderer took the time and effort to purposely rip this from the victim's body. That would mean that the murderer had something in mind, wouldn't it? Mr. Wright, does this mean you know what the murderer wanted to do with this button? What was it? Bro, to pin the crime on him! There's only one logical reason for doing something like that. It was to pin the crime on Mr. Engarde. Exactly, that's safe. There is no way anyone would put a bloodied button in their own pants, literally. That's right, Mr. Engarde was set up by the real killer, of course. And the real murder is... Well, Miss Wright, who in the world is the real killer then? Finally. I can't believe I managed to bring this trial all the way up to this point. Phoenix, you can't let your guard down yet. Not until the very end. Excuse me, the person who planned to frame Mr. Engarde is... I don't know, from the looks of it, it's Miss Girl, Adrian Andrews. Miss Adrian Andrews, I choose you. You are Mr. Corrida's killer. What? Order, Mr. Wright. This is a very grave matter. Do you have any evidence that supports your charge? Any evidence? All of the evidence points to Miss Andrews. How preposterous. You can't stick any of that on me. I can't, can I? Would you care to test me? Then what about this knife? The knife was used to stab the victim after he had already been strangled to death. It was used to throw suspicion onto Mr. Engarde naturally. A knife covered in the defendant's fingerprints could only be taken from his room. And the only one who had dinner with him and knew which knife to take was you. Exactly. Then, what about the button that was found in Matt's Hakama? Bro, we just said that! This button was removed from the victim's body after he had already died. The only people who could have done so were the person who found his body or the killer. However, if Mr. Engarde was the real killer, there is no way he would have put such incriminating evidence in his own Hakama. Literally. The only person who could have put this button into Mr. Engarde's Hakama is the person who went to wake him from his nap, which is you, yet again, Miss Andrews. I see. What about the empty guitar case? That is also another piece of evidence that incriminates Miss Andrews. Literally, she was the one putting it on, bruh. That costume was used to hide the real killer's identity as they fled the crime scene. Exactly. Now, who could have known that there was just such a costume inside the guitar case? Her, because she's the one who set up the conference. It could have only been the person who prepared the costume for the victim. And the conference. And that person is you, Miss Adrian Andrews. No, But Mrs. Andrews' fingerprints were nowhere to be found on the guitar case. And it was you who proved that she was not wearing gloves at that time. That's right. That's because she did not intend on leaving any prints. If anyone had found out she had touched the case, they would have asked her why. So to avoid leaving any prints, she used a towel or something else to open it. But the glass of tomato juice is a different story. Miss Andrews purposely left her fingerprints on the glass to show that yes, indeed, she was the classic Days discoverer of a dead body. And to top it all off, there's this photo. Literally. Like what? A photo of the killer as they exited the scene of the crime. No reasonable person on Earth can believe this nickel samurai Mr. Engarde. He would be much too short for his own costume if it was him. Exactly. Speaking of how tall people are, Miss Andrews, you're also kind of short in stature, are you not? Please stop. Well, how about it, Miss Andrews? Um, I've got her this time. Miss Andrews? I I refuse to testify. What was that? There's a law. It says I can't be forced to testify about something if it can incriminate me. Well, yes, you are absolutely correct, Miss Andrews. The law does provide us with a way to avoid self-incrimination by allowing a witness to not testify if the testimony can cause damage to themselves. What? Pleading the fifth is not something most people would think to do on the spot. Bruh. Actually, thinking back to yesterday in Mr. Ungard's room, Adrian Andrews. Yes. Think hard about what we just discussed. Understood? Alright. That's it. That's when Francisca planted this idea into her head. She must have told Miss Andrews to not testify if things looked bad. You did a good job proving everything up to this point, Phoenix. But there's still one thing you haven't done. Something I haven't done? What's wrong, right? Are you finished already? Run out of evidence? What is so humorous, Mr. Edgeworth? I'm sure you realize this as well, Your Honor. But everything the good lawyer here has proven up to this point is meaningless. What? Everything you have proven is circumstantial. Circumstantial? Yes, circumstantial. You have yet to provide a single piece of definitive proof. Proof that Miss Andrews did in fact harbor a wish to murder Mr. Corrida. Nah, I got that. I got that. I got that in my court record. Don't play with me. Mm-hmm. Let's save again. Girl, I got that in my court record. Don't even try me. I believe this may lead me to be incriminated. I believe this may lead to me incriminating myself, so I will abstain from answering. But Miss Andrews, if you do that, it would be the same as admitting you're guilty, don't you think? Maybe so or maybe not. There's nothing to prove it either way. Besides, you don't even know what crime I would be guilty of due to my silence. No, she's taking that defiant attitude again. Mia, what should we do? Somehow, we've landed in the worst possible situation. I think we have reached a certain conclusion at this point in time. Miss Adrian Andrews has refused to testify, and the defense's theory that she is the actual murderer has not been fully substantiated with solid, definitive proof. But that's not true! In this situation, there is only one thing this court can do, and that is to declare a recess. Recess? I request that both the prosecution and the defense look further into this matter, and at tomorrow's trial. Tomorrow? We don't have a tomorrow. If we don't get a not guilty verdict today, then please wait, Your Honor. That's not necessary. The trial, please continue the trial. What are you sweating for? Your client is getting one more day to live, isn't he? That's not it. This isn't about that. Edgeworth, I know you know who the real killer is. Please, let the trial continue. If I don't get the verdict, then Maya... But it's impossible to continue as long as a witness refuses to testify. Now then, this court is... Oh? It is not impossible for this trial to continue. Mr. Edgeworth, what are you... It's true, Miss Andrews holds the right against self-incrimination. However, if the topic of conversation were something unrelated to whatever she may be guilty of, then she has no right to withhold testimony. Yes, that is very true, but actually, there is one little thing that I'm curious about. Miss Andrews, when you found the victim's dead body, you poured yourself a glass of juice. Yes, and I can't help but think how unnatural that is. Literally, like, why are you pouring yourself a glass of juice? What? Usually when one finds a body, they are shaken up, not stirring a glass of juice. So my actions were unusual, but I've already... Before you speak, I want to state that if you have a reason behind your actions, I would like you to testify to that effect. Testify? Your Honor, I would like to request that the witness testify again as to what happened when she first discovered the victim's body. Whatever we find out in this testimony should in no way implicate the witness. I don't know what it is about Edward today, but I can't get a good read off of him. Is he friend or foe? I just don't know. Nah, he's my friend and my foe when he needs to be. The court acknowledges the prosecution's request. Miss Andrews, if you please. Yeah, taco. The glass of juice, I didn't really pour it for myself. Who the fuck did you pour it for then? I was surprised when I walked into the room and saw it in that messy state. And Juan, he was sitting slumped over and tired looking in the corner. When I saw him sitting like that, the thought that he was dead didn't cross my mind. To be honest, I thought he had just fainted or something, so I went to pour him some juice. Girl, what? Was the knife not there? When I realized that he was dead, that's when I knocked the flower vase over. Okay, girl. Sure you did. So you poured that glass of juice for the victim. Why didn't you say so in your earlier testimony? I didn't think I needed to include something so trivial. Phoenix, please be careful here. If you can't find anything wrong with this testimony, then there's nothing left. I know. Edward, what the heck is going on in that brain of yours? Now then, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. I found the body. That glass of juice, I didn't pour it for myself. But there wasn't anyone else in that room, right? Of course not. Then who did you pour it for? Mr. Wright, there's a rhyme and reason for everything. Can you just wait a little longer for it to be revealed to you? In other words, Wright, be quiet and listen. Precisely. I couldn't have said it better myself. I was surprised when I walked into the room and saw it in that messy state. Oh wait, oops. Girl. Okay. So it was a mess? Are you sure it wasn't messy because of your fight with Mr. Corrida? I understand your frustrations at not being able to prove your theory. However, before you go accusing people of crimes, go find yourself some evidence. And then what did you see next, witness? And Juan, he was sitting slumped over and tired looking in the corner. Slumped over? Yes, he was just sitting there with his head tilted forward, eyes closed. He really looked like he was sleeping. Is it just me, or did that right there sound a little odd? When I saw him sitting like that, the thought that he was dead didn't cross my mind. Interesting. Then what did cross your mind? I thought maybe he had smashed everything up in anger because he lost the Grand Prix. And then felt tired after his rampage, so he decided to take a nap. Anyway, that's what I thought. I see, so you didn't think he was dead at all. To be honest, I thought he had just fainted or something, so I went to pour him some juice. You thought he fainted? I thought he was asleep at first, but then the room was in such a messy state. I thought maybe he had gotten into a fight with someone. And that's when you went to pour the glass of juice. That still don't make sense, but anyway. Yes, he always has a hard time waking up, so Juan always has a glass of tomato juice to drink. I see, and after that, what happened next? When I realized that he was dead, that's when I knocked the flower vase over. Okay. Yeah, I've come to realize that he was in fact dead. I shook him over and over, but I never got a response. So I set the glass down on the dresser and tried to take his pulse. I was shocked and staggered backwards, and knocked the flower vase over, so that's what happened. Yes. That's what it all comes down to, huh? This is the absolute end for both sides, and Adrian is letting her guard down. Phoenix, now is our best chance yet to kill the prosecution's case. Isn't that a bit harsh? Miss Andrews, will you tell us the truth this time? And what was it that he found odd about this one? So childhood was a mess. Are you sure it was messy because you're friend with Mr. Corrida? I understand your frustrations and not being able to prove your theory, however... Slumped over? Yes, he was just sitting there with his head tilted forward, eyes closed. He really looked like he was sleeping. Is it just me or did that right there sound a little odd? Sleeping? Let's see. Didn't cross your mind that he was dead? You didn't see the knife or what? Like, deadass? Like, huh? I don't know, girl. I don't know, girl. Like, literally, how did you not think he was dead? And you saw, like... was there no knife? Like, that's what I'm thinking of. Like, what? You just didn't see that knife on there? Like, girl. So you honestly didn't think he was dead when you found him? No, not at all. Even though this is what you saw when you discovered the body. Literally, that's what I'm fucking saying. Like, I'm like, girl, what are you talking about? Like, the knife was already there, girl. What are you talking about? What is the meaning of this? Isn't it obvious, Your Honor? There is a knife sticking straight out of Mr. Corrida's chest. Anyone who saw the scene would have immediately thought that he was a dead man. That's what I'm saying. Anyone who saw the scene would have immediately thought there was a dead man. Well, you see, I doubt a single person in this world would mistake this for someone who fainted. And then so nonchalantly go pour something to drink. Literally. Your point is, Miss Andrews, your testimony just now, it was all one giant lie. And your lie has proven one thing very clear, that you are the real killer. It looks like the defense has somehow brought the ugly truth to light. The defendant, Mr. Matt Engarde, is not guilty after all. But that's impossible, you're wrong. Miss Andrews, try to have some composure. It wasn't me, I tell you. It was Matt, I swear it. He's the one who killed Juan. But you were the one who refused to testify. And your reason for not doing so was that you might end up incriminating yourself. That's because, Miss Andrews, I will give you one last chance. What exactly are you hiding that may incriminate you? I refuse to testify, alright then. Then there is no need for this court to continue any further. Mr. Matt Engarde's innocence has been clearly demonstrated. Is it over? Have we found the truth at last? What's wrong, Phoenix? Usually the real killer confesses his or her guilt. And now that I think about it, this is the first time someone hasn't. Now then, I would like to hand down my verdict for Mr. Mountaingard. Your Honor, the prosecution feels that it would be premature to pass down a verdict at this time. What? The reason is quite simple. This witness has yet to speak the absolute real truth. The absolute real truth? What are you... Witness, don't you understand yet? Huh? I don't know who planted this silly idea in your head, but as long as you protect yourself through your silence, Matt Engarde will go free, and in his place, you will become the guilty party. That's a lie. I don't believe you. What? I was told if I spoke, then it would be all over and Matt would never be declared guilty. What in the world is she talking about? Has she lost it? I can't speak about it. I'm too scared. It's Franziska von Karma. Huh? Don't you remember, Phoenix? Miss Andrews lives by gripping tightly onto the words of another, because she doesn't have the strength to believe in herself. Then, right now, Miss Andrews is... Yesterday, she was tossed a lifesaver by Miss von Karma. Don't say a word no matter what happens. If you do, Matt Engarde will be acquitted. Miss Andrews undyingly believes in those words right now, and is clinging onto them. Then what should we do? This is the first time I've ever come across anything like this. Well, Miss Andrews has to be the killer, right? All we have to do now is to get our not guilty verdict. That is my only priority. It wasn't me, I'm begging you. Please believe me. I didn't kill Juan. Help, please someone help me. Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. The court can't continue on like this, therefore I'd like to hear what you intend to do. What I intend to do? What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to say? Right, I suggest you think very carefully about this. Oh. Think about what this witness did and what she did not do. And think about who is the real mastermind behind this crime. Who's the real mastermind? Isn't that obvious? There's no one else it could be except the woman crying over there, right? Come now, what will you do? What kind of man are you, Mr. Phoenix Wright? Oh, request not guilty verdict? Nah. Request not guilty verdict. Force Andrews to testify. I have to win a complete acquittal today. There's no way around that. But I can't bring myself to do it like this. Not when she's making a face like that. Miss Andrews, I would like to know what you are really hiding. Mr. Wright, are you sure you know what you're doing? Sure, Mr. Engarde would get an acquittal, but in his place, you would be found guilty. Is this how you really want this trial to end? Be quiet, how dare you? You're trying to trick me. That's enough. I commend you for trying, Mr. Edgeworth. However, it's clear that the defense's theory is the truth. You're wrong. What a shame. I had hoped things wouldn't come to this, however. What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? Miss Andrews, since you absolutely refuse to testify, it falls on my shoulders to disclose this to the court. Stop. Mr. Edgeworth? This witness, how should I put this? She has an illness. What? And because of this illness, she has tried to commit suicide in the past. Stop. Please stop. No matter how much you want to hide it, it's no use. I have the evidence right here. Oh, that's the second part of the suicide report. The attempted suicide report. What will you do now, witness? You know what I am about to do, don't you? I will now reveal to the court the true nature of the pitiful woman known as Adrian Andrews. The secret of her dependent nature. Having other people know about it scares her more than anything else in the world. Please stop. I beg you. If people find out, If you're going to say you would choose death, that is of no concern to me. He said, I don't give a flying fuck. Edward, how can you be so cold? However, before you die, I will pull the truth from your still breathing lips, no matter what I have to do. He said, you gonna say something or you gonna say something. So will you tell the court yourself or shall I? Either is fine with me. He's like, either one. Let's pick a side, babe. I'll talk, but please help me. Nothing matters anymore. My crime. When I first saw him, I really thought he had fainted, honest. When I realized he was dead, that was when I formulated my plan. Once I made sure there was no one in the hallway, I made a dash back to Matt's room. And then I stabbed Juan's dead body with a knife and ripped off the button. Just when I finished and was returning to Matt's room, I had a bit of an inconvenience. And that's why I ended up using the Nickel Samurai costume. Stabbed the body with the knife? But why would you do that? Isn't it obvious to pin the blame on a certain person? A certain cowardly man? What do you mean by all of this? It might take this court a little while to understand, but this is the truth. The real killer is Matt. The scumbag of a man, I'll never forgive him. He's trying to escape his guilt again, just like last time. Last time? Did the other girl confess his love to him or something? And she was like, no. And then she killed herself? Like, I don't know. Last time, so Miss Andrews stabbed the victim, Juan Corrida, in the chest with a knife. However, she didn't do it with murder in mind. She did it with the intent of framing Matt Engarde for the murder. And this is her crime. What? How is this possible? I mean, wasn't Miss Andrews supposed to be the real murderer? Mr. Wright, get over your shock and commence the cross-examination. Alright, bro. When I first saw him, I really thought he had fainted, honest. But you could tell from the state of the room was in that there must have been a fight. Are you telling the truth when you say that you did not know he was dead? He had a scarf tied around his neck, but that scarf is a part of the Gem Ninja's costume, so I didn't think anything about it was strange. His head was also tilted down a bit, so I couldn't see his face that well. That's why I thought I'd wake him up and went to pour the juice. When I realized he was dead, that's when I formulated my plan. What is this plan you had? I knew right away the murderer was Matt. I knew because Juan, he was going to expose Matt's weakest weak point to the world. So Matt did this to stop Juan and silence him for good. That's when I thought I should forge some evidence and pin his crime on Matt. So the forged pieces of evidence were the knife and the button. The first thing that came to mind was to plant the knife. Once I made sure there was no one in the hallway, I made a dash back to Matt's room. That was so you could get the knife, correct? The knife Matt used at dinner had his fingerprints all over it. I thought if I used that, then the police would certainly turn their eyes towards him. Matt was napping with his costume on at the time. I slipped in, took the knife, and returned to the scene of the crime. And then, I stabbed Juan's dead body with a knife and ripped off the button. So you were the one to stab the victim with the knife? It gives me goosebumps to think about it now, what a horrible thing I did, but at the time I couldn't control my own body, it moved on its own. Then when I stabbed Juan's dead body, I suddenly realized something. If I used the button somehow, I could make Matt look even more suspicious, so you thought to rip one of the buttons off and then plan in Mr. Engarde to come. Yes, that's what I had planned to do, but things never go that smoothly, do they? Just when I finished and was returning to Matt's room, I had a bit of an inconvenience. An inconvenience? There was a woman with a camera at the ready loitering in the hallway. I'm willing to bet my spikes it was Lotta. There was also a woman with a ray gun at the ready pacing back and forth. That's Miss Oldback for you. I had already been caught and made into a big super certain weekly tabloid once, so I couldn't very well go out looking like myself and get caught again. And that's why I ended up using the Nickel Samurai costume. You were the one who prepared that costume, weren't you? Yes, I took it from Global Studios. I also put it in Juan's guitar case the day before the award ceremony. You did this in preparation for the press conference, correct? Yes, Juan wanted to wear that costume and hold a press conference in it. He was going to disclose Matt's big secret there. And what is the secret? That I don't know. Anyway, I thought that if I were to leave Juan's room in the Nickel Samurai costume, then people would think that Matt was the real murderer. I was very careful not to leave any fingerprints when I opened the guitar case. I absolutely did not want anyone to know about the costume. I think we've heard enough. So after that, you went back to Mr. Engarde's room and planted the button. Into Matsukama, yes. After that, I folded up the costume I was wearing and put it into a bag. Then I snuck it out of the hotel and got rid of it. My word, what does all this mean? Mr. Edgeworth, is it? The real criminal is Matt Engarde. Yesterday, that woman prosecutor sat me down for a talk. Francisca, huh? She said that I should under no circumstances confess to what I had done. That if I had just kept quiet, then Matt would be found guilty for sure. I had no choice but to believe in her words. What this witness has done is clearly unlawful. However, as long as her testimony stands, we can be certain she is not the real killer. Wait, Your Honor. The defense still... Right. It's pointless. At this point in time, it is not possible to indict Miss Andrews on anything. Yes, exactly. There isn't a single piece of evidence that points to her as the murderer. The cross-examination of this witness is over, and so is today's trial. You couldn't establish that the witness was the culprit. Please let it go, Miss Wright. But... Mr. Edgeworth, please place Miss Andrews under arrest for further questioning. Understood, Your Honor. The prosecution will arrange for her detention immediately. That is all. Court is adjourned for today. Today's trial is over, and I didn't win an acquittal. Witness, would you mind if I asked you something? Edgeworth. What is it? Before you leave court today, I wondered if I might look at one thing. The card in your hand. It's had my interest for quite some time now. What exactly is it? Oh, this? Miss Wright also asked about this. Although I didn't remember at the time you asked me about it, Miss Wright. I remember just now, I found this in the room on that day. The room? That day? Yes. I found this card when I discovered Juan's body. It was lying there right next to him. You found that card next to the victim's body? I suppose I must have unconsciously slipped it into my pocket. But it's not as if this card has any relevance to Juan's murder, right? Yeah, I guess not, but it's still a strange card if you ask me. But as far as a clue to this case, I don't see why. Witness, that card. Give it to me. Hurry. Edgeworth? Do you have any idea what you've stupidly yet inadvertently done? This, I can't believe you hid this from me all this time. I didn't mean to. What is this all about? I've never seen Edgeworth so emotional before. That card, what in the world is it? And what does it mean? How nice. Okay guys, so I think I'm gonna end it here just for now. Hold on. Oh, hello. Okay, yeah, I guess. Okay, guys, so I think I'm gonna end it here for this episode of Ace Attorney. So yeah, like guys, like if you liked it, hopefully you come back and watch the next episode whenever I post, or like the next game whenever I post. And hopefully you come back and have fun, and hopefully it was nice that you were like it was nice watching this. So yeah, guys, like hopefully I'll see y'all next time. Bye.